I think we do, Your Honor. I have one request on a preliminary basis. Dr. Pena is here from Children's Healthcare of Atlanta. It's my understanding from Ms. Crane that there's a stipulation by the mother this morning. So my request to the court would be is if Dr. Pena could be excused based on the fact that we have a stipulation in this matter and his testimony won't be needed.
Well, I don't have any problem accommodating that, but before I say yay, I've got somebody I was told this morning was appearing from a jail or prison, I'm not sure which, Mr. Habib, Romario Habib.
No, I think that's Mr. Canick, Your Honor, potentially the putative
Well, that's
father.
what I didn't understand because my file says the putative father is Deverall Canick, and I don't know who. Oh, Mr. Habib may be the correctional officer who's in charge of this, where he's appearing.
Yes, it's my understanding Mr. Canick is currently incarcerated in Richmond Correctional, Your Honor. So that would be probably what is the case.
Is he represented?
He is not, Your Honor, and he has been incarcerated prior to the alleged use of a rider in this case. So he is not a individual that is being for his dependency does not involve the use of the children or the physical use. The dependency as to him would be his incarceration, and he is not married to the mother, and I don't believe he's legitimated the children. So Dr. Pena would not have anything as to any of that.
Okay. All right. Well, let me put it on the record who all is here, and then we'll see what we can do to help Dr. Pena. The subject of a dependency petition filed by Henry County DFACS. The court gave ex parte emergency custody a week or so ago. And this is the 10-day adjudicatory hearing on their petition. We're conducting the hearing virtually over the internet using Zoom. And we have in attendance, in addition to myself, Allison Crane, who's the appointed attorney representing the mother, Amber Hoppy, who is also online with us. Matthias Skowronek, the attorney for Henry County DFACS. Brandy Long, their supervisor. Is your case manager on this case out as well?
That's Ms. Fincher down there, Your Honor.
Oh, okay.
Miss Terry is the foster care case manager, and yes, she's still out, Your Honor.
Okay.
She's jury duty, I think, Your Honor.
Yes, sir.
So we have Dr. Pena from CHOA. We have Deverall Canick. Is your last name spelled Cannick, Mr. Canick? Can you unmute your mic so we can hear you talk? It doesn't pick it up when you nod your head, unfortunately. There you go. Somebody did it for you. Is your last name spelled Cannick?
Yes, sir.
All right. And you, I believe you're the biological father of both children.
Both children.
Okay. But you have not filed legitimation proceedings to have a court in Georgia declare them your legitimate children, correct?
Correct.
Okay. I'll come back and talk to you about your incarceration and issues in this case. The CASA director, Ms. Dewado, is here observing. Ms. Fincher is with DFACS. Ms. White's a supervisor with DFACS. Ms. Schrock is the appointed attorney and guardian ad litem for the minor children. The mother, I already indicated, was here. And Ms. Willis, I've seen your picture on the screen before, but are you with DFACS?
No, Your Honor, I'm with the Department of Corrections. I'm just a regional coordinator ensuring that the facilities connect.
Okay. Well, we appreciate your efforts, and you like to show your picture around because I recognized it. So you've been on hearings with us before.
Yes, sir.
I apologize that I didn't remember who you were. But
oh, no, you see a ton of people, Your Honor. No problem at all.
I do, and I don't remember very many people anyway, at least their names. So Does anybody object to Dr. Pena being excused in light of the mother's counsel attesting that she will be stipulating to the material facts that Dr. Pena would otherwise be available to attempt to testify about?
No objection, Your Honor.
No objection.
All right. Well, Dr. Pena, I've never met you and I don't get to meet you much today. I know you're disappointed.
Extremely so, Your Honor.
So you can go back to your grind at Showa. And thank
All
you for
right.
your efforts there on behalf of children.
It is my pleasure. You have a good
All
day.
right. Take care. Ms. Hoppy, is there any dispute that Mr. Canick is the biological father of both of your children?
No, he is, Your Honor.
He is? Okay. Is his name on either of them's birth certificate?
Yes, it is.
Both or just Suella's?
Both.
Okay. But he has not filed to legitimate them in Georgia, correct?
I don't believe so.
Well, I think you would know so because he'd have to sue you. And you would know if you got sued.
No, he's on their birth certificates though.
Okay, well, in Georgia, we're the only state that has a procedure where the father of illegitimate children is considered the putative father, and he has no legal rights to custody or visitation until such time as he legalizes his relationship by filing and having granted in Superior Court a petition to legitimate them and have them declared his lawful offspring. There used to be a method to do that administratively, but they outlawed that several years ago, and I think it was done before these two kids were born. So that wouldn't be applicable in this case. I have actually had people do that from prison, Mr. Caddick, not very often. Are you in a county work camp or are you in a state correctional facility?
I'm in a county work camp, Your Honor.
Are you serving a state sentence?
Oh, yes, sir.
And what is the length of your sentence?
I have 8-year sentence,
Okay, and when did you start serving it?
November 1st of 2022.
Okay, so you're just barely over a year into your sentence. Have you received a tentative parole date?
No, sir. I have a parole eligibility date for May of 2025.
Okay, which is 2 years away. Okay. What was the charge for which you were convicted and sentenced on?
It was possession with intent to distribute methamphetamine.
Okay. Were you living with the mom and the children at the time you got arrested?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, we will be having a number of hearings in this case. Unfortunately, being in the prison system, most of the stuff we would generally ask a putative father to do, it's not really possible to do. Certain times of parenting classes and having assessments for what, if anything, you could benefit from. As I said, I have had somebody be able to, I know at least from our county jail, have filed for petitions to legitimate, generally with the assistance of appointed counsel. You obviously, unless you have a nest egg somewhere, you would probably qualify for appointed counsel. We don't appoint them at the beginning on putative fathers because more times than not, we can't find the putative fathers and they're not interested. So if you're interested, you can request the appointment of an attorney who can advise you about issues as we go along. We're going to go ahead and hear the case today. Obviously, you can't take care of the children while you're in prison. So that in and of itself constitutes dependency. Now, when you get out, that may be a different thing. But we've got a while before we have to look at that, really. You have any questions about what I've told you so far?
I'm sorry to interrupt. I think you have Ms. Hampton, the case manager in the waiting room. If you could let her in.
I did. I attempted to. I clicked on her. But I was so startled by your interruption, I may have missed the button. Is she in? Yeah, there she is.
I see her. Yes.
Did you have any questions about what I've told you, Mr. Canick?
I'm just unfamiliar with the whole process and I don't know how to be enlightened on certain issues as far as what all of that means and what it entails as far as me filing for anything I don't have any idea about.
Okay. Well, are you saying you'd like some an assistance from an attorney? I don't have appointed attorneys that can travel to Augusta to see you in person. Do you know if they would make arrangements for you to counsel with a lawyer over Zoom, like you're appearing in court today?
I'm not sure, ma'am. I mean, sir, I'm not sure, but I could ask my counselor here and see
Okay.
what
Well,
resources
do that
are
and
available.
write us a letter and let us know.
Yes, sir.
We don't have funds to pay people to travel all the way across the state, but we can make somebody available to be here when we have court. But we do not transport state prisoners to court when they make them available virtually, which is what corrections has done a real good job of doing here recently. So, did anybody have any questions for Mr. Canick pertinent to the case that's with us today?
No, Your Honor.
I'm assuming based on Mr. Canick having appeared this morning via Zoom that he was actually served with the paperwork. I haven't gotten a return of service back, but I assume that he's been served and then also Ms. Poppy has been served as well.
I don't have service returns on anybody that I see. Unless they found them in another part of the file, which is supposed to be in the back of the right. Did you get some papers telling you about this court case and the date we would have court, Mr. Canick?
Yes.
Ms. Hoppy, did you get papers?
I did not get any papers. I just got an email.
Okay. Well, we appreciate your honoring the email. The sheriff was supposed to come out and personally hand you a copy of the stuff you got by email.
I've gotten a video hearing notice. That's the only paperwork I've received.
Okay. All right. Well, they'll mail you a copy of the remaining paperwork, okay? And they sent it to the sheriff of Richmond County to have you served, but sometimes we have found that experience here in Henry County that we have law enforcement inundated with a lot of obligations and short of manpower, so they get to what they can get to, and sometimes this kind of serving civil papers kind of falls down the priority list a ways, so it doesn't happen as fast as we would like. And the statute requires us having hearings fairly quickly, so that's why we're here so soon after this started. Ms. Crane, will your client acknowledge service?
Yes, Your Honor, we'll acknowledge service.
Okay. All right, but we'll still send you copies do we have, Ms. Hoppy, the address I have for you
Yes,
is
sir.
280. All right, well, we will send you a copy, and then Mr. Canick, you said all you got was something from the corrections generated about your notice of a virtual hearing. I don't think your EF, they used to call it EF number, now I think it's DOC number 1000.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what's the address of your facility that you're confined to right now?
2314 Tobacco Road, Augusta, Georgia.
Okay, thank you. Is there any plan underway to transfer you to another facility that you're aware of?
No, sir.
Okay, good. You like it there as much as you can like being incarcerated?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. If you should find out that you're getting ready to be transferred, you need to write us a letter and let us know so we can keep our records current. I can't talk. All right. Mr. Skavanik, you want to tell me what your stipulation is?
Your Honor, it's my understanding from Ms. Crane that there is a stipulation that the children are dependent based on the allegations set forth in the petition. As to the mother, that reasonable efforts were made to avoid removal, that it would be currently contrary to the welfare of the children to be returned to the custody of the mother, and the temporary custody of the children should remain with the department pending a final disposition hearing in this matter. And then as to the father, Your Honor, putative father, we would ask the court to make findings based that the children are dependent as to him based on number one. And the court didn't ask this, and I'm going to assume this is correct. Mr. Kanik or Ms. Hoppy can correct me if I'm wrong, but that they were never married at the birth or conception of either of these children. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
I
And,
thought I'd asked him that, and I thought somebody had told me they weren't married, and I don't know who it was now that I think back, but go ahead.
I didn't remember hearing that, so I just want to make sure that was on the record. That further that the children are dependent children based on Mr. Kanik not having legitimated the children, and therefore under Georgia law not having any legal rights to the children, and that also the children are dependent as to Mr. Kanik based upon his current incarceration and 8-year sentence and inability to care for the children as a result of that. That no reasonable efforts could be made as to Mr. Kanik. It'd be contrary to the welfare of the children to be returned to his custody, that the children remain in the department's temporary custody as to him, pending a final disposition hearing in this matter as well.
All right. Anybody have anything else to add or subtract?
No, Your Honor.
No.
As I mentioned, law enforcement is shorthanded. The court is also shorthanded with respect to appointed attorneys. But Mr. Kanik, we will, if we've got one available, we will assign that lawyer to you to be able to consult with you. In the meantime, find out if you're available, if you can be made available to confer with a lawyer over Zoom, okay? Or some other virtual method. It doesn't have to be Zoom, but that's the method we use here at the court. But there are a couple of other platforms besides Zoom that different courts use and different agencies use.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what the corrections does about virtual visits or live visits, especially since you're technically the putative father and you're not legally entitled to seek visits. But if that came to pass, I'd have to know more about if you were active. Were y'all living as a family unit at the time you were arrested?
Yes.
You were living with Miss Hoppy at that time?
Yes.
All right. And y'all were together as a family, even though you weren't married, you were, but for the legal of marriage, you were like a family, traditional family. Would you say?
Yes, sir.
Would you agree, Ms. Hoppy?
Yes, sir.
Do you know of any reason if it were allowed for a putative father to visit virtually, would you have any objections?
No.
Okay. He has a relationship and they know him as daddy or dad or papa?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Now, I hesitate to ask those questions because I don't generally make arrangements for putative parents. That means not legal to visit. But I'm keeping an open mind about it. But I'm just trying to deal with issues that may come up in the future. And but we will be back in court. The clerk is going to give me a schedule of dates that we'll be back for a 30-day case plan and final disposition for this case. Then we'll have a 75-day review, which means 75 days after the removal. Then we'll have a 9-month permanency plan, I think, because these kids are younger years. I think that. So we're going to be back on February 27th at 3 o'clock, April 15th at 10 o'clock, and January 14th of next year at 1 o'clock for all on Zoom, unless somebody objects to being on Zoom. Those hearings are already being scheduled. I haven't signed the order, but I'm getting ready to. So those will be part of this case. All right. Anything else anybody needs to bring to my attention about this case?
Yes, sir.
No, Your Honor.
Not that I'm aware of, Your Honor.
No, sir.
Mr. Kanik, did you say yes, sir?
Yes, I just wanted to inform you that the Department of Corrections does attorney conference calls
Okay, great.
and Zoom attorney conference calls as well.
Okay. Well, we will when I find a lawyer to assign, I will tell them that you're available. Of course, they have to make some pre-planning. It doesn't just happen to call down there and say, let me put him on Zoom. It has to be planned. But we'll ask that attorney to conference you in. And hopefully by the time we get that going, we will have gotten this paperwork out to you and you'll have it in your hands to look at when y'all talk, okay?
Okay, yes, sir.
All right. The lady from DOC left us after she confirmed that that the prisoner was here and we were all here. Does anybody know the procedure for notifying about these future dates so that this gentleman can be available for those hearings?
The Department of Corrections, specifically the facility where he is, generally will have a liaison. And the court can contact the facility and the liaison can let them know what's the best way. Sometimes they'll take an email, Your Honor. Sometimes they won't. But usually there's someone who handles that in the facility.
Okay. Well, just don't forget that we need to make sure that we know now, almost a month from now, we'll be back. And we want to make sure that Mr. Canick is back with us. Okay.
Your Honor.
Remember, Mr. Canick, the term of art is legitimation. Usually when I type that in an order, spell check tries to throw it out like it's not a word, but it is a word. And that's the topic of, you can talk about anything you want to with your lawyer when he or she gets in touch with you, but you want to know about legitimation and how to go about doing that, decide whether that's something you want to do. I can't give you legal advice and I'm not telling you to do it, but I can tell you if DFACS gives you a case plan, that one of the conditions of that case plan will always be to legitimate your legal relationship with the child or children. Okay? So be sure to talk about that and any other questions you have about the legal process. Was there something else, Mr. Skrbanek?
No, sir.
All right. The court will accept the stipulation and find the children dependent as to mom and dad because of his incarceration and putative status, and will leave temporary custody with the department with appropriate caretakers. And the department's authorized to provide medical care and assistance to the children in need. Reasonable efforts were made to avoid removal, and it'd be contrary to the welfare of the children to be returned to either parent at this time. So we will be back. Ms. Hoppy, please stay in touch with Ms. Crane. If you move, change your phone number, anything, you need to let her know. You need to let us know. You need to let your case manager know.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because you'd be amazed at how many times I get to court for a review hearing, and I've seen them in a few months, and find out that mom or dad have changed phone numbers but haven't shared it, that they basically have dropped off the face of the earth. Caseworker doesn't know where they are, can't find them, and there's been no contact for 4 months. So you can imagine what got done on a case plan over 4 months when nobody's talking to each other because nobody knows where the parents are. And, you know, it's happened, unfortunately, way too many times for me to recall. And it doesn't benefit. We will talk more at the next hearing, but I'm assuming if you're like 90+% of the parents, you want your kids back. And
Yes, Your Honor, I want my babies back.
That's what we're going to be talking about.
I'm going to do whatever it takes.
And that's what we're going to talk about is what needs to be done. But then when you lose valuable working time and progress time when you disappear on us or go ghost on us. So don't do that. I mean, sometimes people get overwhelmed, and I don't know what the different. Sometimes they've gotten in trouble with the law and they've been in jail, and that's why we can't find them. But share with us. We're going to share with you what we have and what services are available to help you get back on track and be the parent that you want to be. But we have to have contact and communication, not so much with the court, but with the DFACS staff who are charged with the responsibility of carrying out the case plan that we talk about when we come back on February 27th. Okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So if you have any further questions, talk to Ms. Crane. She knows all this stuff. And Mr. Kanick, I'm gonna do my best to find somebody to help you look after your legal interests as well, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, we will adjourn the hearing. Thank y'all and take care.
All right, thank you.